Yo, what's up YouTube? DirtyDan Gaming coming back with another Rise of Kingdoms video, and today we are getting face-to-face with the developers, Hot Topics Q&A. For anyone that watched my stream last night, there is something in this developer feedback that we have kind of touched on, and I ranted a little bit about. I'm going to throw that clip in this video as well, so make sure you stay tuned for that. I've honestly only seen one tidbit. Thanks again, as always, to my drill sergeant, Mr. Ray. Thank you, Mr. Ray. So I haven't read any of this besides the one little tidbit, which is kind of making me want to make this video, which is regarding the future format of KVKs. So sit back, relax, and let's jump into it. Okay, so face-to-face with the devs. Hot Topics Q&A. Following the recent release, and again, I haven't read this at all yet. Following the recent release of a large amount of new content, the developers have received lots of suggestions and inquiries. We have selected and answered some of the most highly discussed issues in the communities and shared our subsequent development plans. We hope you'll find the information useful. Please feel free to tell us about your thoughts on the new content via the communities. We will collect everyone's opinions for reference and provide further explanations. It's honestly quite funny that I kind of made a rant on this and their whole... I ranted last night, for those who didn't tune into the stream, I ranted last night about the Imperium KVKs that we just got presented with for the Warriors Unbound, which is going to be featuring kingdoms like 1960, 1307, 1093, and 2489. So we went in, we kind of deep dove and kind of dissected some of the other kingdoms that are going to be involved in that, and it wasn't pretty. So let's go on. First question, I wish to learn more about the balance adjustments on some of Thutmose III's skills mentioned in previous commander adjustment announcement. Will the museum buffs be affected? I honestly don't even really want to read through this because who in the hell is investing in Thutmose? But let's read it anyway. We are very sorry for not explaining the adjustments clearly in the announcement and the inconvenience caused. Thutmose III's buffs in museum will not be affected. The balance adjustments are targeted for Thutmose III's skill Might of Thebes. The details are as follows. Previously, it was stated as, after using an active skill, troops deal 30% more normal attack damage for 3 seconds. The skill can trigger once every 8 seconds. Now, archer units take 5% less damage from infantry units. After using an active skill, troops deal 30% more normal attack damage for 3 seconds. So, there you go. Who's using Thutmose? I guess you can with the new Warriors Unbound and Siege of Orleans, but whatever. As Season of Conquest commanders are made available in Season 3, Season of Conquest governors can immigrate to Season 3 directly. This is very unfair to local governors. So now we're running into this whole situation again of, oh, it's unbalanced and blah, blah, blah. Well, whatever. This issue has also come to our attention. The difference between immigrant governors and local governors has indeed become apparent after Season of Conquest commanders are made available in Season 3. To ensure a good gaming experience for local governors and meet the cross-season immigration needs of Season of Conquest governors, we consider adjusting the cross-season immigrant limit for Season 2 and Season 3. The immigrant governor quota will be increased from 30 to 50 for kingdoms in Season 2 and will be changed from 30 to 0 for kingdoms in Season 3. Holy crap. As being in a kingdom that had to go through this, oh man, I don't know where to begin. So you're not going to have a migration period for KVK Season 3. You pretty much have to do your migration for the 2 KVKs. Interesting. The adjustments on the usability of Season 3 commanders and the availability of Season of Conquest commanders are in line with the recent matchmaking adjustments for kingdoms that enter Season of Conquest for the first time and the Season of Conquest immigration adjustments. This is to give kingdoms and governors sufficient time to develop before entering Season of Conquest and help them go through the transition smoothly. We will constantly pay attention to the issue of the game ecology in the future. You're clearly not doing that at all, Lillith. You're trying to, but you're not doing it. And we covered this on my rant last night in stream. You're not paying attention to the ecology of your game at all. It's like you don't even play the game. Moving on. Oh, The attributes of leadership equipment are too weak and do not provide enough advantages for a single unit type. In order to enrich our governor's gaming experience, we'd like to see governors develop more specialized equipment for specific unit types rather than everyone using universal equipment that affects all unit types. Leadership equipment is designed to complement the bonuses that leadership commanders provide to mixed unit troops. It is not designed to be used with every commander or unit type as a catch-all equipment type. I mean, I think that's a no-brainer. Whoever asked that question is kind of silly. So you would just have everyone would just be running around with leadership gear. KVK battles are unbalanced due to the significant difference in number of active governors among kingdoms. This is exactly what we talked about last night. I went through it, but it goes further than that now. They're now trying to. They've already been trying to address, I think, the population issue and the Imperium issue by adding autarch rewards to really no avail. But we'll see, because now some of these kingdoms now are finally hitting some big KVKs, and I don't know how long, you know, top players in Imperium kingdoms are going to go, especially if they're not getting the Zig, which I guess they are for the most part. But so for anyone, we kind of went through this on our stream last night too, so it all kind of coincides. Any kingdom that obtains the Zig is going to get 240 autarch rewards to distribute throughout their kingdom. So in an Imperium kingdom, I mean, that's still like 1.5 worth of an alliance, but I think that's still a fairly big amount. It's almost 2 full alliances. I still think it's a fairly big amount. So I don't think that's going to change the Super Imperium format all that much. You'll probably see some players migrate out. And then if anything, you're going to have more, there's going to be more filler accounts and more smaller players going into these Imperiums and not super mega whales. But again, they're trying to address the issue of population, number of active governors among kingdoms, correct? Like we dealt with that in our KVK just now, 2581 fighting 2293, 2581 and 2305, you put our powers together and we are probably like 30 billion worth in power, but we only have like 260, if that, 260 to 280 active players, whereas as a kingdom like 2293, which is almost about 3.5 alliances, that's 450 to 500 players population difference. So yes, they're trying to address the population issue here in this little excerpt, which we'll get into the answer, but it's going far beyond that now. They need to start paying attention to crystal technology and these players and these kingdoms that are investing into crystal technology. As I stated in my rant, population's one thing, but when you have a full kingdom of 960 that is maxing tech, going to have to fight these poor little B seed kingdoms at 15.4 billion power, where probably 20 of those players max will be max tech all throughout. And that's being very generous. Like in our KVK, we're a very thick C to B seed kingdom. Throughout the entirety of our KVK, we probably had maybe 5 players that were truly max tech all the way through KVK, right? I'm talking about each stage of fighting. They are max tech there as far as you can go. By the end of KVK, like maybe getting into King's End, maybe we are getting up to like 10 to 15 players. How do you think the other 135 players in our kingdom or in these kingdoms feel about fighting 960, where it's almost 600 players worth of max tech? Maybe 10 max tech players, 10 max tech players in a B seed. You have A seed alliances that are in this KVK as well, that are 1 alliance kingdoms. It's the same thing as a B seed. They just have a little bit more fluff due to farms and you know, dead accounts that won't leave the kingdom. They're probably 20 max tech players. You have 960 and 2489, which, as Hunky's alluding to, they're the densest spending alliances in the game, most likely, who are going to have max tech players all over the place. It's absolutely insane that they would make this kind of matchmaking when you have 307 and who's the other one? I think 1093. You gotta do something, Lillith. You're you're too slow on these things right now, I'm telling you. Thank you for your feedback, and please rest assured that this issue has already come to our notice. As time passes, the difference in number of active governors among kingdoms in the game has widened. Some kingdoms have populations that exceed normal values, resulting in a series of problems such as unbalanced kingdom power in KvK battles, and the difficulty in matching opponents for kingdoms with very high populations. Meanwhile, some kingdoms have a severe shortage of active players, making it difficult for the management to gather sufficient active governors for gameplays like KvK. We're actively exploring targeting solutions for these issues. In the future, we will implement a series of adjustments such as setting a limit to the number of registrants for a single kingdom in KvK and putting scarcely populated kingdoms on the same server. The second part is good. That's what they should be doing. But limiting the amount of registrants for a single KvK, you're putting band-aids on the wounds, Lillith. You got to do something bigger to affect the Super Imperium format that is in Rise of Kingdoms and these massive populations. Make it population based. You have an ability to track the activity of a kingdom. I'm sure you do. You have to match those kingdoms with those activities and those active players. It has to be that way. The powers no longer mean anything. It has to be this way. You're putting it correctly in the second part, putting scarcely populated kingdoms on the same server. We welcome your opinion. So again, I think they're acting too slow. They're realizing their issues a little slower than they should be reacting to them, and they're noticing these problems, and then it's going to take 6 months for them to fix it. Following the launch of Ark of Osiris, sorry, it's just really something that like I noticed in this KvK in particular, and not from us on a population standpoint, but then you have a kingdom like 2172 who's going up and fighting 875, and then you have players who are making good points of, oh well, 875 is 80% of a max tech kingdom going up against 2172, which they're about a 3.5 alliance kingdom, and they probably have maybe 20%, 30%. Generously true max tech players. All right, I think it was competition last night in my stream. There's a difference between max tech and max tech. Like there's a huge difference there. So Lillith, you gotta act faster, because this right here, I guarantee you, on my sticky notes, on these B seeds, these 15.4 billion, 16.7 billions, even the 18.9 billion A seeds that are fighting 960 now, that are one alliance worth. 18.9 billion in a seed kingdom. They are maybe 1.5 alliances worth of power. They're fluffed up with farms. You got to do something, and you got to do something about these players who are sitting in kingdoms that don't want to leave, that are affecting matchmaking. That's another thing that's hurting this game, is there's so much fluff. And even from a farm account basis too, there's so much fluff. I think we had about 3 to 4 billion worth of fluff that is just sitting in our top 300. Our top 300 is still like 21 million power. We can't even do anything about the guys who want to come in who are under 25 million. There's so much to fix, and you're realizing it way too slowly. All right. Following the launch of Ark of Osiris Raging Sands, time of announcement of Osiris League new season, many of you have approached us with a question regarding the two events. We have summarized and answered your questions below. There are too few Pioneer slots for Ark of Osiris Raging Sands. I am unable to register for it. Duh. Thank you for your feedback. Many of you have registered for Ark of Osiris Raging Sands. Once it is launched, and we have decided to open more registration slots given the overwhelming response. However, considering this is a Pioneer event, potential issues such as technical faults and design defects might arise. To prevent these issues from causing a large-scale negative impact, we have no choice but to limit the participants. We sincerely apologize. Well, maybe get your game... Like, I understand you need to kind of like beta test this stuff, but can't you beta test it in Kingdom 2 or Kingdom 1? Can't you beta test it on your own? They did a content creator like community thing where they were playing Champions of Olympia as like a beta test. Why can't you just do that? Will the new rules and gameplays of Ark of Osiris Raging Sands take effect in a new season of Osiris League for all governors? Answer. For all governors to experience more diverse and technical game modes, all battles in this season will feature the Raging Sands mode. The formation and armament buffs on the battlefield in Ark of Osiris practice match will be disabled temporarily to help governors better prepare and develop strategies in advance for the battles. This is also to make sure the practice matches reflect the battlefield in Osiris League. So Osiris League is going to be Raging Sands. I'm with my man Lambo and Bulba. How are content creators going to stream this now? Bulba does an excellent job every Osiris League of covering that, and you're ruining it, Lillith, for us. You gotta let us content creators know about that too, because we would like to stream and we'd like to kind of help promote your game. Will armament information buffs take effect in this season of Osiris League? Armament information buffs will be temporarily disabled. Okay. When will Osiris League start? The new season of Osiris League will start at the end of May. This has been another face-to-face. Okay, so I didn't go too long, but I did rant because again I'm getting triggered here. They're too slow. I'm gonna keep saying it over and over again. You guys are too slow with realizing this stuff. You got to get some people inside your game, not playing in these super mega Imperiums. Like 1093 is known as a developer, developer kingdom or whatever it is. You got to get some of your guys into B and C seed kingdoms to be playing this and see how your game is fleshing out, because it's absolute nonsense that a multi-billion-dollar revenue company, it might be, they've made a few $1 billion, maybe not multi-billion in a year, but I think they've cracked $1 billion in revenue. There's no reason that you guys don't know what's going on in your own game. It's honestly absurd, and you guys are too slow. Because now this here, the KVK battles are unbalanced. This whole population thing, you're fixing that, but now you have Crystal Tech. You got to keep Crystal Tech in mind as well. You guys are too slow. I hope this doesn't take a long time to implement, because as a king in a kingdom, we're trying to work power to the best of our abilities. C-Seed has something that we have aimed for ever since we created this jumper project and this kingdom, yet the C-Seed power ceiling has fallen on us for 5 months straight now, and we're struggling to get to C-Seed. We don't want to be in B-Seed fighting Imperium kingdoms as it is showing here. It's nonsense, and it shouldn't happen. It's not fair to the smaller player base of communities. I'm going to leave it at that, or I'm going to keep rambling on. We're about 16 minutes into the video now. I'm going to leave it at that. God, please, someone from Lillith, please see this, because I'm telling you what I'm telling you what a majority of people are thinking. Especially if you talk to these guys in the B seeds that are fighting against 960. Again, they're going to be fighting alongside them too, but it's still nonsense. So, rant over. This was a pop-up video. I didn't plan this by any means, but enjoy the rest of your week. We're streaming tomorrow, Friday night, Viking Rise. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you want to check that out. I'm having a great time playing it so far. Hit the like button on your way out. I appreciate all your support. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Take care. Love y'all. I'm out. Peace.